Hi guys, I'm Blackie and welcome back to this channel. Okay, this is a class for the Silver Wolves. As you know, this coming week we're going to be putting on the Silver Wolves classes at the beginning of my gathering. And for those of you that might not be able to make it, I decided to do a 3-part video class for you that I'm going to give you free. I want everybody to have this information and to give you a sample of what we're putting on for the students at the Silver Wolf Gathering. Okay, what we're going to deal with in part 1 is setting up the system. This is going to be the framework that we're going to put the pieces into for a camping outdoor adventure, where they plug in on the bookshelf, so to speak. In part 2, we're going to deal with how it needs to be flexible and adaptable and how different components will plug into that. In part 3, we're going to deal with storage of our gear and how we organize our gear to make our life a lot easier whenever we go to the field. Ultimately, this is your system. All I'm going to provide for you is a framework. I want you to have a fixed idea as a starting point. Once you've established that and you figure out exactly how you want to proceed, then you need to modify it to be your system, something that works better for you. But what I'm giving you is a framework. Now, let's face it, we're old Silver Wolves. We've had a career. We've worked most of our life. We've had to work in jobs that had given orders of operation we had to handle, orders of procedure, assembly codes, all kinds of things. This has to begin, and then that happens, that happens, that happens. We've all been through it because we're old Silver Wolves. We're going to set up a system here for camping and outdoor stuff to help us organize and take a lot of the stress and the confusion out of us going to the field. So, let's talk about for a moment. Let me give you an idea of some books for your library that I recommend that may be very useful for this. Now, there are 3 books right here that are backpacking books. If you're interested in going and doing a lot of backpacking or things like that, these would be good books to look at. First one is Backpacking Book by Alan O'Banion, and also illustrated by Mike Cleland. He's going to get around a lot. There's the ISBN. Lighten Up, very good book. Also by Don Ladden, I believe, and illustrated by Mike Cleland. He gets around a lot. And Ultralight Backpacking Tips, that is illustrated by Mike Cleland again. And there is the ISBN number. And finally, one of the most influential books in this discussion, The Complete Walker by Colin Fletcher and Chip Rollins. Now, this is quite a few years old, but it's number 4. So I've had this, probably since the early 90s. But it's a very good book, and it's not boring to read. He's talking about how he did things and his mindset. Very good book, okay, for how to organize and get out there in the field. Now, what in the Complete Walker they do is instead of saying we're going camping, he says you're building a house. And he takes the various components of my gear and lots them into rooms. So, for example, all the cooking stuff goes into the kitchen. All of the sleeping, etc., goes into the bedroom. All the personal hygiene stuff goes into the bathroom. The little notebook that he carries up on in a little bit pocket up on the strap of his rucksack, that's the office, because that's where all the pens, all the notebook, that type of stuff goes. It's a way of thinking and organizing your gear. So let us look at how to start laying this foundation, okay? The system. Let's start with the bedroom. Now, for me, I prefer to start when I'm visualizing what I'm taking to this camp out. We're going out this weekend, you contact me and say, we're going to the lake, blah, blah, blah. Sounds great. How do I select what gear to take? What I do is I visualize, I will start at a given piece of gear and then kind of spiral outward. What I'm going to start with is my bedroom. So, I'm going to need, at night, I'm going to need sleep clothes, which is pajamas or some sort of, it might be a t-shirt and shorts, might be 3 pairs of long handles and a big sweatsuit, depending on the weather conditions, right? I'm going to be using a hammock. For that I will need a top quilt, a under quilt, also I will need a tarp to go over the whole thing, a pillow, and I will need some light in there right at night. So this is where I'm going to put my lantern in this set. Okay, that constitutes the bedroom. Okay, for the kitchen, we're going to have my cook set, plus there's going to be food, plus there may be coolers. Okay, all of that is going to go with the kitchen set. Closet. Closet is this adventure going to require changes of clothes? So do I need extra socks, shirt, pants, some other thing that I might not think of at the moment? Maybe it's a scarf, maybe it's a toboggan or something like that I need for warmth. How about we put the shamag in here? Right there. Okay. Are we going to be doing some sort of craft at this? Maybe we're going to be doing spoon carving, let's say. So if we're doing that, we're going to need a saw. We're going to need a hook knife. And we're going to need maybe one of the little small hand drill, if I want to put a hole in it, and sandpaper. Okay? All of that goes into the craft. Fireplace. Fireplace is going to be, what are the things I'm going to have out there? Well, this is where the chair is going to go if I'm car camping. It's also, I need a small table. What else would go out there? You see what I'm saying? Maybe I've got a favorite stand or something that I want to put out there to hold something or whatever. It's going to be going with the fireplace. How about bathroom? Okay, this is going to be washcloth, wipes, TP, toothpaste, brush, paste. All of that. You see what I'm doing? I'm putting them into blocks. I'm putting them into a set. Now, how I'm going to visualize this is I'm starting at my bedroom. Okay, I'm laying in that. I'm going to need my PJs for what I'm going to be sleeping in. Okay? I want my lantern at night to be able to get in and out of bed and be able to see inside the tent. So I'm going to have my lantern here. Of course, I can take it out and take it somewhere else, but it's here. I need my pillow because I like to have a pillow. I'm going to need a top quilt or sleeping bag. I need an underquilt. If I'm on a cot, I need a pad and I need a sleeping bag. If I'm ground pounded, I need a bigger ground pad and then I need a sleeping bag. See what I'm saying? All right, now, stepping out of your bedroom, I'm going to go to the fire. What do I need at the fire? I want my chair. I need a stool. I would be really handy to have that little metal table I got that folds out real light that I can put stoves and stuff on, so I can bring my kitchen out here and sit and cook by the fire if I'm not cooking on the fire. You know, what do I need for cooking on the fire? Am I bringing some sort of gear for that? Do I need my grate? Do I need whatever? The grate and stuff like that would go under kitchen, but the stuff being used at the fireplace, need a pair of my heavy gloves, don't I? So I can grab a hold of logs and move them around at the fire if I can't find a handy poker. This is how we organize, see? Now once I have plugged in all of these, see, your job here is to come up with these headings. What makes sense to you? So maybe you don't like the concept of the bedroom. Maybe you like the idea of it being just a tent, and then what goes in the tent. Perfectly valid. Whatever it is needs to be your system, and it needs to be something that is repeatable. Because what we're going to do is, once we've come up with our headings for this system, you need to create a checklist. Simple thing you can generate on the computer, write it out, and then just take it and have it photocopied or whatever. That way, whenever I decide, you know, me and the kids ain't been out for a while, how about, you know, I give the wife the weekend off, she goes and grandmother can go do such and such, and me and the grandkids will go to the lake, we'll fish, we'll do whatever. How about under crafts? Fish, you know, activities instead of crafts. Okay. Then I'll be able to pull this thing out at work and start filling in. Well, I'm going to need this, and I'm going to need this, and I'm going to need this. Instead of a random list that doesn't make sense, it's organized, see? And then as I'm down here working on bathrooms, oh yeah, and I can jump up here because it triggered something. I wanted that in the kitchen. How about the big Coleman lantern to light up a bit area? How about the big power cell thing to plug in a light? And the kids got all their electronic games on their phone, they're going to want to charge them. So I need some sort of power cell or whatever. By generating this right here, the system, I have created a framework for me to then plug in my needs. It sounds simple, but let's face it, we're silver wolves. We do forget things at our age. And having this to be able to plug it into will make your life so much more organized. If you've ever seen a movie or whatever about flying a plane, you know that these professional military pilots and everything with 20 years experience still have to carry the checklist with them, don't they? When something goes wrong, the checklist got to come out. Before they take off, they got to run down the checklist. In the Navy, in all kinds of jobs description, there's a checklist you've got to run before you walk away. Because memory is not what we think it is sometimes. This keeps us from getting to the field and suddenly discovered that we brought the lantern but we didn't bring any fuel. We forgot the food, it's sitting at the house, you know. We got out here because we were all excited to bring out the dog to try hunting with the quail and etc. And we're out here for the weekend and we forgot to bring dog food. It's a system. I learned this system over years of experience of having to do without because you forgot it. A simple checklist made up of this is how we're going to start you off. So, come up with the various things. Maybe you want to, you know, start with at your truck walking into the camp. What's here, what's there. Imagine it in your mind. Maybe you want to start with how you load the truck. Whatever. Pick a starting point and then have each one of these to fill into. See? Now, what are some good headers, good topics? Okay. Food, you know, because we're going to break down each one of these even further. And in part 2, we're going to talk about that. How these headings get broken down into subheadings, sub-lists. So for example, on my kitchen, I will have on the top page all I'm going to be carrying, like what I'm wanting to carry for food. Okay? I pick the food, then I pick the cook kit and stuff to match that food. If I don't need to boil anything, why am I toting a 2-quart stock pot? If I'm not making coffee or anything else. See? Why am I carrying a frying pan when nothing in here is going to be fried or used for that? Select the food, then pick the cook set to fill in the needs of it. Select the bedroom and then figure out what you need. In part 2, we'll talk about adaptability. Okay, in the bedroom, I'm going to need a sleeping bag. What's the temperature going to be? Do I need the big sleeping bag or do I get away with the Woobie? See, that's in part 2. Okay. The whole focus of this is you have to come up with some sort of headings, write them down, so that when you're going on your trip, you plug in. Okay? Now, over time, you will not need to write down the actual headings because I can just visually, mentally say, okay, bedroom, and I'll do this. And then I'll draw a line because I know my next one's kitchen. And I'll draw a line and I'll know my next one's closet. These get into a certain order and I keep them in that order in my head. So what's fourth down? Well, fourth down, 1, 2, 3, 4. Crafts. Crafts is where I put it in section 4. You know? And so I don't have to have that frame, but I still generate the list in that order, see? So that I know, and if oh yeah, I forgot to add that into that, I'll jump back up into that list and I add it. When I go on my camping trip, I'm going to pack today, maybe I'm getting off work, and I got to pack to go tomorrow. Number 1, I pull out this gear. When I've got all the gear or the proper substitution in the pile, next pile, and I make a pile beside it, that's this one. Pile beside it, that's this one. Pile beside it, till I get all 5, 6, whatever my list is, piles. Then I look at that pile and I pick how I'm carrying it. Is this a car camping trip? Can I get away with a small rucksack and a couple of totes to carry it, be easy access? How about 5-gallon buckets? What's the carry method that best suits this for your system? See? Are we backpacking? Are we kayaking? Are we canoeing? Are we riding the ATV? Are we taking the truck to the lake, towing the boat? See? Same order of operation, but we're going to plug in different components. That's in part 2. I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have, please hit that like, share, and subscribe. And coming Friday, we'll go into part 2, where we'll break this down even further, and we'll talk about adaptability of, I have the need for the sleeping bag. Temperature-wise, where do I need it? Can I get away with a light one, or do I need to tote the heavy one? Clothing for my clothes closet. What's the temperatures I'm going to be facing? What clothing? Maybe it's summer and I need a pair of swim trunks because we're going to go jump in the lake if it gets hot. Need to include that. How about bathroom? How will that change? Well, in the bathroom, or maybe for us old dogs too, how about medicine cabinet? Well, I need to bring bug repellent and something for ticks would be nice. You know, how about my special medication I got to have for my heart, etc. That will be covered coming up. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.